Hi everyone, it's Kelly and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be continuing with dragons and folklore from Archangel Michael, animals in the afterlife, animals in other dimensions. So if you didn't catch the first part where we talked about Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster, etc., you'll find that here on my channel. I'll put the link down below in the description. All right, so let's begin then with the written word from Archangel Michael. Ask any aficionado of dragons and dragon folklore, and they will most likely inspire you to learn more about them. In other words, dragons by nature conjure up the essence of mythical beasts. Every time your world has had a major global shift in its energy fields, dragons were involved energetically, existing on the spiritual plane. That is their spiritual purpose, the angel said, to balance opposing energies. Even if we go back 9 million years, spiritual dragons, then known as elliptical dragons, were given the exalted position by God to hold the gates of heaven open. How do I know this? I was summoned by my masters to be present and watch as they did so. The elliptical dragons have themselves shape-shifted now into looking like another form, and therefore Source has recreated their names. Now the original elliptical dragons are known in my realm as passenger dragons. The very first elliptical dragons were bright green and gold. They had 2 sets of wings. One set was golden, and the second set was silver. The 2 sets of wings worked in tandem to balance energies at the gate of heaven. And if you're not familiar with the vibrational equivalency of silver and gold, gold represents love and silver represents gratitude. That is why today, still in many places of your world, you will see dragons at entrances to a building or leading a parade. The sets of wings themselves were transparent and rose from the backs of the elliptical dragons. Most elliptical dragons range from 5 to 15 feet in length. Another remarkable feature of these dragons were their eyes. Most had marble-looking eyes similar to a cat's eye, yet they were golden or yellow golden to emit a certain healing vibration. Their tails had tiny little triangular-shaped spikes all down the length of them, which could be quite long by any standards. The spikes themselves contained healing toxins and resin-type material from various galaxies, including soil from Mother Gaia. Each spike or spire held a different type of energy matter. At times, the elliptical dragons at the gates of heaven would swish their long and abiding tails to spread vibration. You may be wondering why heaven needs more vibration from elliptical dragons. If you imagine the kingdom of heaven as a wonderful place full of dynamic movement, sound, color, evolution, and healing, where all manners of healing are used, they were simply a tool for Source. When Mother, Father, God, Supreme Creator, determined that elliptical dragons could shift their look, they shape-shifted into what we refer to as silver dragons. Silver dragons, as the spiritual name implies, were all silver. They had silver wings, silver claws, silver scales, and silver eyes. They too stood at the gates of heaven, balancing the energies and the energy flow. They did not breathe fire, as many fables illustrate them to do. These dragons did nothing of the sort. Rather, they emitted a tone or song to abide in healing and balancing energies. Emitting a sound creates vibration, and their tone was healing. Many silver dragons have guarded the gates of heaven from interference. Following the silver dragons were the blue-headed dragons. The blue-headed dragons are still balancing harmonies within the galaxies, though their purpose as heralding in a new dawn of the new earth was completed. Presently, golden horned rams stand at the gates of heaven. Animals in the afterlife. In sharing animals and folklore, I'd like to talk briefly about Egypt's animal mummies, the pets of the pharaohs. Different sacred animals were worshipped at their own centers, beginning with the dawning of the Egyptian civilization. The process of mummification on Earth dates back at least to 500 BC. For those unfamiliar, the process of mummification was to preserve the body of the animal, normally wrapped in linen cloth, and human beings as well, to ensure their journey into the afterlife. Much like trends in your modern world today, so there were trends of favorite species in Egypt. Throughout centuries, baboons were particularly sacred with the Egyptians living along the Nile, along with horses. Some royalty preferred to have multiple pets entombed together, while other pharaohs preferred to have their favorite hunting dog entombed alone. In order to prepare for this topic of animals existing in other dimensions, the Archangel suggested and shared a prayer, and it is, "When I feel afraid of a thought, I know that I am being guided. When I feel safe with the thought, I know that I am at home." Ask yourselves, dear ones, how do you feel after listening to some of this? Animals existing in other dimensions. I promise that I will be sending healing energies to those of you who may be frightened when hearing these words. No one sentence, no one thought can potentially stir up as much dissension as this one. Life, including animal life, exists outside of Earth and has done so for centuries. If we wrap ourselves around a warm healing light and visualize together feeling safe, loved, cared for, and totally appreciated before I proceed, that would be my instruction. Stay with this feeling or knowing as long as you wish. The animal forms which exist in other dimensions outside of your own, which I will choose to examine, are those in the light. As Michael mentioned in the part 1 of Are Mythical Creatures Real? There's no purpose in honoring darkness. Know that harmful animal spirits can be created by those outside of light in one instantaneous earthly moment. Wow. Are many of Earth's animals aware when this occurs? Absolutely, the Archangel said. Many of the higher vibrational younger starseed animals emit rainbow or turquoise-colored energy back to them. Sometimes the energetic threat is too large, and they are unable to defend themselves from attack. Just as with human beings, animals on Earth can and do experience psychic attacks. They can experience attachments and carry energetic imprints to keep them separate from Source Creator. Though we are not here to fully examine the healing modality known as STAR HEALING INTERGALACTIC ENERGY, it is a viable and reliable fifth-dimensional ascension healing modality to rid humans and animal light bodies of fourth-dimensional properties and open their magnified heart centers. Many times, many illnesses in animals are caused by low-level energies, just as with humans. I've been asked many times which animals on Earth are the most aligned or aware? And the answer is they all are. All of them came in with a canopy of creation to help build structure in your world. And all of them in some way instinctively know when something is out of order energetically. Have you not ever seen a dog growl at a complete stranger and wag their tails upon greeting others? By the way, Michael says, the larger an animal's brain has no bearing on how more sensitive they may be. As with humans, those who are doing much ascendancy work are often the target for tricksters. Do not be surprised if your young pet is awakened out of a deep sleep only to be growling at some unseen force. It is imperative that you learn the basics of energetic projection. Again, there's an upload on my channel you'll find about spiritual protection. As you can begin to see, not all the animals in other dimensions are fuzzy, warm, heartwarming, and cuddly. Some from the far side of the sun have large green blinking eyes and green hearts. Others have squirrel-like tails and heads of turtles. Some animals existing in other dimensions are known as the cat people. The cat people are friendly, benevolent, and wise creatures whose origin goes back 9 million years or so. The cat people live in Octavius, a solar system based in the celestial Him galaxy, some 16 million light years from the Milky Way. There are at least 15 dozen different animal-type species which live in other galaxies. They are spread out over a huge rainbow-shaped continuum of energetic space, connecting worlds light years apart. Perhaps at some other time, Michael said, we can examine the details of animals on Damascus, Pluto, Herculon, Nebulon, and other second city civilizations. Some of that content, friends, you might be interested in checking the upload on Dominion, where Michael goes into some of this. All in your world will have had at least an opportunity to learn this information in a global way. Some will continue to ignore this, but many will rise up and cheer. If your mind can imagine much of the same early Earth creation source intended for your planet in its entire magical splendor, then it should be fairly easy to extend this thinking to infinite reaches of all the universes which exist. 66 and still being formed. Thanks for listening. Be blessed.